Hey guys, my name is Koushik and welcome back to LetCode. In this video, we are going to learn how to run our test script with the help of Jenkins. So we are going to just schedule a job in the Jenkins, and based on that time, the job is going to execute our test script. For that, we need three softwares. One is the Git Bash and another one is the GitHub Desktop. That is optional, but I prefer to use the GitHub Desktop, and then followed by, of course, the Jenkins. So installation process is very simple. I will leave a link in the description for the entire setup files. Just go to that first git.acm.com/downloads and you can click on this download for Windows based on your operating system, and let's store this in download folder. And similarly, you have to go to this desktop.github.com, and here we are going to click on this download for Windows 64-bit. Again, based on the operating system, you have to download the appropriate file, and then go to jenkins.io and click on this download. And here we are going to use this war file. War file is nothing but a web archive. So just click on this. This is going to download a file with the war extension. Just save it on the download folders. Okay, let's the download complete. Till that, we can open this git bash first, and very simple installation. Just you have to click on next. That's it. Pretty much pretty simple. So next, and it's we are getting the default path, and click on the next. And there is already folder, there is no folder, so already exists. Okay, let's just give yes, and just leave this all default as it is. So let click on the next, and click on the next. Just click on next until you get like installing this one. Okay, just click on keeps on next. So that's it, nothing much in the git bash. Okay, so once the installation complete, you can just uncheck this one. We no need to launch this. Just click on the finish. That's it. So first part is over. Now second step, you have to click on this GitHub Desktop. Why this is, we can do in the VS Code, or we can use the command prompt or the terminal to push all our code in the GitHub. But I'm using this GitHub Desktop recently, and I think this is really handy. Instead of writing code or something like that, this is going to be very easy. Okay, so let's remove this one. Okay, so already I have the setup, that's why it's coming by default. In your case, you might have to just click on next, and then it will ask you to do the sign in or the sign up authority, I think. Just in case if it didn't ask, just go to this file, and here you can select on this option, and here it will get like accounts, so github.com. Just click on this sign in, and click on this continue with browser, and make sure you are going to sign in your GitHub account as well. So just enter your username or the email ID, password, click on sign in, and that's it. Now we are within this GitHub Desktop. Okay, so that's it. Let's close this one. Okay, and next Jenkins will come to this in a moment. Before that, let us also understand that what are the code we have written that needs to be pushed to the GitHub. So from there, Jenkins is going to pull all the code, and it's going to trigger. I believe you already have a basic idea on the GitHub, like push and pull commands at least. If not, do let me know in the comments. Probably I can make an entire video on that. Okay, so let's go to our github.com slash that repository. And this is my repository, and we recently got this dark mode as well. That's really cool. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just going to open up this folder. So here we have all our entire code with the results, reports, everything, the page object model with the JavaScript as well as the TypeScript, and this npm, right? So if you remember, in the package.json we added something like npm update test post test. So we are going to make use of this one. Okay, so let's go. First we have to push this entire code to the GitHub. So I'm just going to show you very quickly if you don't know. So open up your GitHub Desktop, and you can just go to file and click on this add local repository, and choose the folder. So it's in my case it's in the desktop git dash demo, and just select the folder, and it will say like nothing. So yeah, we can click on this create repository. Okay, so create repository in the sense it is going to create a repository in my local as well as in my github account as well. Okay, and then we can just um, okay, we no need to do anything here, just you can leave as it is and click on this create repository. Okay, so this is going to create a repository in my local folder as well. So you can see .git, this is the folder. Actually it is a hidden folder, so click on this view and click on this hidden items, that will show you this hidden folders as well. Okay, this folder means okay, we have initialized the github in the local repository. Now just go to your github desktop and click on this publish repository, and if you want to want to give some description, probably you can, and you can just uncheck this. So code private in the sense it will create a private repository, or else it will create a public repository. So I'm just going to create a public repository here and click on this publish repository. Okay, okay, let's go to our uh, github.com, and here if I refresh the page, I think I should get something like git demo. Yeah, so we got this git dash demo updated 12 seconds ago, and by default there's a git ignore in the sense it is going to ignore all the unnecessary files like the node modules entire folder and maybe some other data. Okay, okay, so I got this readmd file because I already have this, so that's the reason. In your case you might not get all this md file and all the stuff. Okay, but this is the procedure, just upload all your code to the github. Okay, so that's the reason I'm using github desktop, or else we have to go here, we have to create a repository, then we have to add the git ignore files, and we have to say like what are the files we wanted to push, all the stuff. I can simply ignore or reduce the number of manual steps with the help of github repository, I mean desktop app. Okay, okay, so next one, we are going to set up the Jenkins. So let's go and open this one. So wherever you have downloaded your war file, make sure there you are going to open your command prompt. Okay, so cmd, it's going to open up the command prompt. Okay, and then you have to say java dash jar, then followed by jenkins dot war file. Okay, and make sure you have the JDK 1.8. If you have any other version, probably Jenkins is not going to work. Okay, so make sure you have the 1.8 only. Just to check that, you can type like java space dash version, and that's going to say like 11. So in my case it is not going to work, I believe. So let me show you that as well. So java hyphen jar, then followed by jenkins.war. Okay, just in case if we ask like allow access, you can just give it. Okay, actually Jenkins is running, but so you can use the 11 as well, I think. But I have both the versions, 11 as well as the 1.8. So it's picking up the 1.8, I believe. Okay, just in case if you're getting any error, probably you can just uninstall your JDK 11 or any of the latest version and use the JDK 1.8. That is pretty much enough. Okay, so it's running the server. So this is going to act as your server. It's running in the background. Let's minimize this and go to your browser and open localhost 8080. That is the default port where Jenkins is run by default. um, SQL or the MySQL or the Oracle, any of the SQL also runs in the same port number. So just in case if you have the SQL configurations, probably you can change the port number. So for that, command is very simple. You have to say like java hyphen jar, and then followed by jenkins.var and hyphen http port with caps p, and here you have to say like 1234. So this is going to be your default port number. Okay, so this is the command. I will leave this in the description, probably you can check it out. Okay, just in case, use this if you have already something running on the local host of 8080. If nothing is running like my system, then it's fine. Okay, now as soon as we go to the local host 8080, it is going to ask you to unlock the Jenkins. That's nothing but just copy this one and open in a new tab, and that's going to give you some password like this. Copy and paste over here. Okay, and then click on the continue, and your browser might suggest, I will recommend you to save the password. Okay, and then we have two options. One is the customized Jenkins, I mean one is the install suggested plugin, or we can go and select the plugins to install. Let's go with the install suggested plugins. Anyway, we are not going to use all these stuff, maybe one or two we are going to use. Okay, so it might take time, so I will just pause the video and I will come back once the installation is completed. Okay, so the installation is going to be completed almost. So we have only one plugin. While doing the installation, if something is getting failed, don't get worry about it. Just ignore that. It's pretty much fine, because we are not going to use most of them. What we are going to use this Git and maybe the workspace and folders, and that's it, I think. Okay, so if something is getting failed, don't worry about it. Just ignore, and we can proceed with the next step. Okay, so once that is completed, it will ask you to create a first admin user. So we can skip this. Actually, we no need to create any user for that, because we already know the password and the default username is going to be this admin. Okay, so you can just skip and continue as admin, and it will ask you like what is the configuration. So we'll just leave default, that is going to be running on the port number 8080. Now let's go and save and finish, and that's it. So Jenkins is ready. Installation is very pretty much simple. Now let's go and use this, start using Jenkins. Okay, and there are multiple ways we can trigger our test with the help of Jenkins. Like we can create a freestyle project or maybe a pipeline. I'm not that great in pipeline, so I'll just stick to the freestyle project as of now. Once I'm familiar with the pipeline, maybe we'll change this entire flow to the pipeline. Okay, so first we are going to create a job. So job in the sense, it's kind of project. So in the world of Jenkins, we call it as job. Okay, so click on this new item. Okay, before that we have to do some configurations. So go to manage Jenkins, and here we have this global tool configuration. So click on that, and here we have to say the path of the Git. So Git in the sense the Git bash, whatever we have downloaded in the very first step and we installed. So here we are going to mention that particular git bash file, I mean folder location. Okay, so just go to your explorer and go to C drive and program files, and then go to git, and within that we have this bin, and within this bin just copy this entire path, and here just say bin slash. Okay, so this is the default path, C program files git slash bin slash git.exe. Okay, and apart from that we don't need anything. This JDK we don't need, so we are not going to use this one. So I can delete this one, and that's it. So only one thing we have to configure in the global tool configuration, that is this git, and we have to specify the path of the git. Okay, so apply and then click on the save. That's it, we are pretty much done. Now click on this new item, and here we have to select this freestyle project, and then just give some name. Okay, so I'll just name this like Jenkins demo something, or Jenkins LetCode demo, something like that. Okay, okay, so let it be Jenkins dash LetCode freestyle project, and click on this OK. Okay, so here we have 5 tabs, 1 2 3 4 5 6 tabs basically. So we have source code management, the build trigger, build environment, build, and the post build action. Okay, so let's see one by one. So first general tab, we can give some description. So optional, so skip it. and then you have to select on the source code management, and we have to say where is our source code. So basically it is in the GitHub, so we have to select this Git, and here we have to specify the GitHub URL, or even if you're using GitLab, pretty much fine, you can give any of the URL. Okay, so let's go to our GitHub demo and copy this entire URL, right? So github.com is the domain, or Tony Casey is my repository name, I mean username, and git dash demo is the repository name. Okay, so copy this entire thing and give it here and click outside. Once you clicked outside, it will go and search whether this repository is there or not. So in that case, you won't get any exception or error message. If you just remove something like this, so this is not available, and you click outside, now you can see that it is going to say like not reachable or something like that. Okay, so make sure you're going to give the proper URL of the repository. Okay, and just in case if your repository is private, you can add the credential here. So just click on this, it will ask you some like password and username, you can just give it there. Okay, and that's it. Source code management pretty much fine. Now why this is going to take from the code, so from the master. So by default it was master, but now recently everything is changed to main in the GitHub. So you can just configure like here. Okay, so it's going to be main here. Okay, that's it. Click on the apply. Okay, so main is nothing but the branching. Okay, if you are aware of the branching concept, pretty much fine, or else just follow this step, that is pretty much fine as of now. Okay, okay, now next we have this build trigger. So build trigger can be performed in various ways. One is based on the time, that is what we are going to learn. Other than that, whenever there is a code change in the GitHub, we can trigger our Jenkins to run. For that we can use this poll SCM, or you can just build trigger based on some commit message. We can do that. There are plenty of ways. Maybe for the Jenkins alone, we might see I might do some videos later on stages. So for our Protractor learning, so this is pretty much fine. So we are going to click on this build periodically, and here we have to specify the time. Okay, so I'm just going to bring up my clock here. Okay, so the time is 4:37 p.m. now. Let's say that we want to run our test on the um, today date, of course today date, and maybe on 4:40 something like that. Okay, so here if you click on this help icon, it will tell you like what is the syntax you have to give, right? So it starts with the minute and then followed by hour, date of the month and date of the week. Okay, so I'll say like I want to run on the 40th minute, and then 04, that's going to be 16, I believe. Is it 16? Yeah, it's 16. 4 plus 12, 16. And then date of the month is today, so I'm just going to give star star star. That means it can be anything. Okay, now once I click outside, you can see it will say like it would have run Saturday 12th December 2020 at 4:40 and this second. So that is what we are expecting. We are expecting today. Okay, this is your last run. So today we are Sunday. We are expecting to run on the 4:40 p.m. Okay, so let's go and apply, and that's it. Okay, so we have triggered the timing, but we didn't say what we have to do, right? So I'm just going to change this maybe 42 and apply. Okay, now go to this build environment. So we are not going to do anything with the environment, so we can skip that. We are interested more on this build. Okay, so in the build, what we are going to say is like how to run the protected test script. Okay, so here we are going to use this execute uh, shell or maybe Windows batch command. So let's go with the batch command, and first we'll say like um, npm install first. Okay, and then we are going to say let's add one more, and we'll say like npm run update, and let's add one more, npm run test. Okay, that's it. So what we are doing here is we are adding two or three shell commands, Windows batch. So what does it means is if I go to my this repository, let's open this in GitHub, I mean VS Code. So here you can see that we have this package.json, and here we are using this update this test, right? So test is basically going to run going to trigger our protected.conf.js, and this one is going to download all the binary files, right? The Chrome or the Firefox driver, right? So that is what we are saying here as well. Npm run update means it is going to download all the binary files, and then this guy is going to trigger the test cases, and this guy is going to uh, give all us the npm modules, the node package manager modules, right? Because if you go to this github desktop, you can see we do not have any of the node modules. Node modules should be downloaded when the test is going to run. So first we have to do this one, then this one, and then this one. Okay, just apply and save as of now. So it's going to trigger on 442. Probably we can wait and check. Okay, um okay, so let's wait and check. Meanwhile, let it run. So here we have this git ignore. So you have, by default you have so many things, just delete everything. And what are the things we are going to ignore is basically anything with the allure. So you can say like allure star dot, I think allure star. Okay, so that means this allure hyphen report and allure hyphen results, we don't want to use this, or we don't want to send this to our github repository. And then followed by node underscore modules, so this is also we don't want to send. Okay, and here you can see that we have only two changes, so we can just plus plus to commit and we can push it. Okay, so let's add this one. We'll say like git ignore. Okay, control enter to commit, and you can just click on this arrow icon that is going to push your code to the github repository. Okay, so it might ask you to do the sign in, so click on this and that will open your browser and authorize git credential. That's it, pretty much enough. Okay, let's go back here, and the code is pushing, I think. Yeah, now let's go to our jenkins and see whether we are able to run. So time is 4:42, and here you can see our build has arrived. Now let's go to the console output. So click on this arrow icon and click on this console output. So here you can see it's actually downloading the all the latest code from my github repository. So it is doing the WebDriver manager update. That means it's going to um, download the binaries, and then you can see npm this protector config file is running, where my test script actually starts to begins. So I don't know what is the test case we have here, but I think that's going to run something. Let's see. Yeah, so it's doing the basic sign-ins, login, logout, test script, I believe. So let's see. The console, whatever we are getting on the VS code, that we will get exactly here as well. The reporting, everything will be getting. But I think the post test is going to trigger here, that we really don't want. Because what happens depends on the project and the organizations. In my case, we have this Jenkins in the AWS, and I don't have any access to do the setup or something. So I have access only to modify the project, and particular job only I have the access. So I think that's very common in all the organization. So probably you want to get all the local file access and all those stuff. So the better idea is run your test script there, but instead of triggering the test result, you can download and check it. Okay, so since we have this post test in the package.json, let me show you this one. Okay, so here you can see we have this post test, so it's running the allure command, and we are able to see all our reports here. That's pretty much fine, but as I said, we should download it and then probably you can use it. Okay, so that's going to be very simple. Let me show you that as well. So here you can see press Ctrl C, but I don't know how to give Ctrl C here. So that's not going to work anyway, but yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so that's our mistake, probably we'll just rectify in a moment. And here you can see some of this kind of junk characters. That's because of the tick mark that we get in the uh, Jasmine spec reporter. So that is not visible here, but which is fine, I believe. Now let's go back to the project, and here you can see workspace, and in the workspace you can see we have this Allure result on the Allure report as well. So what we can do is we can go to this Allure result, and here you can see all files in zip. So you can just click on this, that's going to zip everything, and it can download everything in a local machine. Okay, so that's simple it is. So let's go. So here we are getting this. Now let's click on this cross icon to stop the build. So we are going to stop the build, that's fine. Okay, now let's go and open this one. So here you can just extract it somewhere, and from this folder you can actually generate your report, right? So that we already discussed. You have to just open this and you have to say Allure serve. That's it, pretty much fine, right? So in this way we can use the Jenkins. This might not be a very detailed tutorial about the Jenkins and its feature everything, but just to clear the interview or just to enhance your day-to-day life in the CI/CD, probably this is pretty much enough. Okay, and in the next video we'll also see like how to generate the Slack notification, I mean integrate the Slack notifications. And one more thing here is just go to your VS Code and you can comment this post test, because we don't want it to do the report generation in the Jenkins. Okay, and then just push the code into the GitHub and you can schedule a job. That's pretty much enough. Okay, so very simple things. Let me just give you a quick overview. So we have installed the Git Bash GitHub desktop app. That is optional, but still I think that's very handy. If you don't have the permissions to install exe file like that, probably you can use the VS Code or the integrated terminal to push and pull the code. Okay, and then we have the Jenkins.war file. In your organization you might not have that much permissions to uh, do the build stuff and everything, might be. So if you have Jenkins server, probably you can just get the credential from them and you can just create a new job. So freestyle job we are using, and within the job you have to just specify the source code, that is SCM, and then followed by the build trigger and followed by the build. Okay, so build is the one you have to remember, very simple. So go to configure here and this build. So we are using three shell execute Windows batch command. One is the npm install to download and install all the dependencies, and npm run update to download all the binary files, and npm run test is basically going to trigger your configuration file. So if you have more than 100 test case, of course each and everything is going to run based on sequence or parallel, however you have configured in your configuration file. Okay, and that's it. So in the next video we'll see the post build action, like if the build is started or finished, or if it has any problem, we probably will can get a Slack notification. Okay, of course we can do the email as well, but Slack is very handy, I believe. So most of us use Slack, so that's what we are going to learn. Okay, so that's it from my side. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one very soon. If you have any doubts and queries, or if you wanted to learn more about the GitHub, like the push, pull, branching, merge, conflicts, all those stuff, do let me know in the comments. Probably I can do that in a after all the series. Okay, so thanks once again. See you in the next one very soon.